The University of Iowa announced that basketball star Caitlin Clark will have her jersey retired and replaced with an apron. You have me at royal duties. Domino's is reducing the number of chicken wings included in their meals, and I really wish I'd known that before I had my delivery guy fired for stealing.
All right.
This
is a really rough episode for me, Kyle.
An 11-day cruise is being offered next year from Miami to the Caribbean, in which passengers will be nude. The cruise will offer pickleball, cornhole, and also games. Pat Sajak is asking Wheel of Fortune fans to stop making fun of the two contestants who were unable to solve an easy puzzle, saying, quote, have a little heart. Or, as the contestants would guess, haze a nipple heave. Many. I actually believe he has many Bibles. I'm sure he's been sent thousands of Bibles with a note that says, please read this. Republican Representative Derek Van Orden, who looks like if Santa stormed the Capitol, argued in front of legislation to bring whole milk back to school cafeterias, saying that almond milk wasn't milk because, quote, milk comes from a mammal. Then he whipped out his nipple and said, allow me to demonstrate. Domino's has launched a new program called Emergency Pizza, which offers customers a free pizza whenever they need it most. Which is strange because all of my emergencies come right after eating a Domino's pizza.
Wow! Oh, wow! Wow!
That was really...
Wow!
That was a great message.
Wow!
That was a great message.
Colin. Wow!
That's a great message. If people can find you on Instagram, that's cool. A man in Virginia is being called the greatest Uber driver ever after he and his teenage passenger got stuck in a snowstorm and he got a hotel room so she would be safe. Coincidentally, the worst Uber driver ever also brought his teenage passenger to a hotel room.
One of the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement announced that he is supporting Donald Trump for president. And I'm going to assume he announced it during a traffic stop.
Van Leeuwen Ice Cream is introducing several new flavors, including Kraft Mac and Cheese, Kettle Corn, and Dill Pickle. And if any of those flavors sound good to you, you're pregnant. This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers. Yeah.
Multiple women have posted videos on TikTok claiming that while walking the streets of New York, they were randomly punched by men. Well, then, damn, get the hell out of my way, bitch. And speaking of bitches, I want to call out the biggest bitch of all, Kendrick Lamar.
Here, as drawn by the creator of Kathy, was accused by Trump's lawyers of lying about their affair for profit, which would make her the only person to do business with Trump and make money. It's also been implied that Stormy Daniels got into bed with Trump and let him do whatever he wanted just to advance her career. You know, like every Republican.
The former president of the Spanish Soccer Federation is being charged with sexual assault for kissing a female player without her consent after the Women's World Cup. If convicted, she will be allowed one free kick. That was a nice look.
I don't think that's going to make the show.
I think it did. I think someone screamed. A dog was rescued after it fell off a 50-foot cliff into a quarry. Next time, said Kristi Noem.
I knew it was going to come out of you someday.
Today was the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, also known among horses as Squid Game. May is National Masturbation Month, so stop knocking on my dressing room door. Protesters continue to gather at Standing Rock Indian Reservation to stop the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The natives believe that the oil pipeline could contaminate their water supply, but the oil company believes, nah. The Sheriff's Department began using rubber bullets and water hoses against the protesters last weekend. And I know that law enforcement is a very, very tough job. But at some point, when you're out there in 23-degree weather, spraying some native family with a fire hose on Thanksgiving, you gotta stop and wonder, are we the bad guys?
I tell you, I like this guy.
A plane in Brazil was stranded on the runway after the plane's wing was covered by a swarm of bees. Bees who work together to spell out, "Wing is missing screws."
Serena Williams criticized the New York Times after it mistakenly printed a picture of her sister, Venus Williams, and labeled it as Serena. Worse, the Times then sent an apology letter to Wendy Williams. A video has gone viral of a man urinating on a New York City subway while other passengers appear not to care. But they were probably too nervous to say something because I'm on TV.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
President Biden went to Walter Reed Medical Center for his annual physical. Doctors said Biden was fit as a fiddle, in that he's old-timey and held together by strings. Elon Musk, seen here trying to jump to Mars, joined Trump on stage at the rally tonight, which may be the last time Trump and Musk will be together until they co-host our Christmas show.
A growing number of women who use weight loss drugs are reporting surprise pregnancies, which are being called Ozempic babies. And I believe Ozempic babies was also the theme of the...
This Sunday is the New York City Marathon. The marathon is a great chance for foreigners to practice running for their lives.
An attorney for Diddy said that his client wants to testify at his trial saying, I don't know that I can keep him off the stand, because you can't hold a guy back wearing all that baby oil. Sylvester Stallone traveled to Philadelphia to celebrate the city's first ever Rocky Day. Although I'd say that if you're living in Philadelphia, every day is a pretty rocky day.
Thousands of what are being called penis fish have washed up on the shore of a California beach. Not only that, one kid says he even found one in his mother's nightstand. A man in Kansas was arrested after he was caught having sex with the tailpipe of a car. The sex was described as exhausting. A new study shows that Beaumont, Texas is the least educated city in the country. Oh man, wait until they don't read about this. In the latest episode of Gwyneth Paltrow's new Netflix show Sex, Love, and Goop, a sexologist explained how people can experience full-body orgasms while fully clothed without touching, which is also what happens when your mom watches Bridgerton. Insiders are also saying that during meetings, President Biden repeatedly uses the F word in conversations. More concerning, the F word he keeps using is forget. A man in Oregon who had collapsed in his house was saved after his local Domino's Pizza became concerned he hadn't called in his regular order and sent a driver to check on him. It's all part of Domino's new slogan, "You die when we say you die."
Trump advisor Stephen Miller also wants to hold migrants seeking asylum in tent cities. Fun fact, tent city is also what Stephen Miller gets anytime a girl talks to him.
Police in Canada will soon start making people caught drinking and driving listen to Nickelback. So let that be a lesson to all you drunk drivers out there. Make sure the crash kills you. It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson.
A weekend update on Michael Che.
I'm calling Joe. Good night.
Residents on Staten Island are upset with the local man who keeps a pet horse in his yard, saying the animal smells and attracts flies. But you know what else smells and attracts flies? Staten Island. Officials at JFK Airport say that a suitcase containing more than 100 pounds of cocaine was left unclaimed at the luggage carousel. For reference, here's what 100 pounds of cocaine looks like.
Lawyers for R. Kelly, who's being held without bail, are complaining that the singer is only allowed to visit with one of his girlfriends at a time. Worse, visiting hours conflict with the schedule of their middle school. And in this week's presidential porno recap, Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen, who's definitely a candidate for Friend of the Year, said that he used funds from his own home equity line to pay $130,000 to silence Stormy Daniels. Can anyone in America imagine taking out a home equity loan to help their friend pay off a porn star? The best part is, you know that right after Cohen settled up with Stormy, Trump saw another porn star and was like, she's pretty cute too. And Cohen's like, dude, I'm going to lose my house. Police in Florida arrested a man in a local Target for masturbating with an Olaf doll. Worse, he let it go. UFO enthusiasts have declared that Hillary Clinton is the first ET candidate after she pledged to release government files on UFOs and Area 51. Unfortunately, the aliens keep all their files on a private email server. Joe Biden is now the frontrunner and just picked up an endorsement from Michigan's governor only days before the state's primary. And it makes sense that Michigan would love Biden because it kind of looks like a hand trying to touch a lady's hair. Space Agency said that the landing of a spacecraft on a comet this week was rougher than they initially thought, with the probe bouncing twice before landing. Only twice? Said Spirit Airlines.
Experts say that by 2026, Disney Plus will surpass Netflix to become the top streaming platform in the world. Not so fast, said Pornhub.
DC Comics announced that the new Superman will be bisexual. Yes, they also announced that the Riddler has always been down for whatever.
By the way, can the media please stop getting us all riled up with headlines like, will porn star bring down president? Is Mueller moving in for the kill? Just stop teasing us if there's no payoff. I'll tell the media the same thing I told my high school girlfriend. I'm totally fine waiting, but then you gotta stop rubbing the outside of my pants.
And I get that it's hard to pronounce a lot of these names, but that's what makes award shows so fun. I mean, just imagine John Travolta as he introduces the wickedly talented DeVito Olajuwon.
Amazon announced that their new Lord of the Rings TV series will be called Rings of Power, though I'm personally more excited for the spin-off Gollum in Paris.
We have a tradition where Che and I give each other jokes to read.
Oh, yes. That's true. We're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never seen before.
Yeah, fun, harmless, inoffensive jokes, right, Che?
Yeah, man. Why don't you go first, though?
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. Oh, wow.
Okay. A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
Whoa. I wouldn't have said that. Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
think
The graphic.
this will be good.
Yeah, sure. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? You're gonna get me murdered. Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Wow. A new interview with England's Prince Andrew is being called a total disaster after he said his friend Jeffrey Epstein conducted himself in a manner unbecoming. I don't know. From what I've read, it sounded like he becoming all the time.
That's terrible, man.
The bat used by Babe Ruth to hit his 500th home run was auctioned off this week. Also, I'll be auctioning off the bat I used to keep my neighborhood white.
Researchers are testing a new method to treat cancer by injecting the cells with the herpes virus. So good news, if you've ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer.
Oh, man. Okay, this is not, I'm already so worried. Okay, it says, okay, time out. I refuse to read this last joke, not because it's racist, but because there's a black man holding my cue card. It says I can't work like this, so Merry Christmas, homeboy, you're fired.
Fired the man on Christmas college.
Many doctors are saying that they have a hard time convincing their black patients to agree to take the COVID vaccine. Well, maybe they should try telling them it makes you immune from paying child support.
Whoa. That's pretty racist, Colin.
It was revealed that the sequel to the movie Hocus Pocus is in the works for Disney Plus, which, judging by this picture, is a movie about every white woman I've ever slept with. Cool. No, yeah, that's fine.
This week marks the 65th anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on an Alabama bus. And I just wish that all black people could follow her example of sitting down and shutting up.
The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King.
Oh, God. It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson. Okay. A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs.
A new study shows that the average American touches their mobile device more than 2,000 times a day. Only 2,000 times, said my penis.
Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history.
The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike.
This is on cards. I want to switch it up a little. Shay didn't write this one. This is all me.
I'd like to hear this.
Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day.
Oh, you're going to get letters about that one. That's fine.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
That's pretty racist, Colin. Las Vegas is opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby. Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Really doubling down on black Superman. San Diego police are being investigated after video surfaced of them using excessive force on a homeless black man accused of urinating in public. But I say great work keeping our streets clean, boys. Yes, sir. Anything the police do is all right with old Mikey Che. I know I'm probably the only black man brave enough to say this on live TV, but blue lives matter even more.
Oh, really nice of you.
Okay. Whoa.
This week, construction began on a new hip-hop museum in the Bronx. And I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me. But because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. He did nothing wrong. And before I go, I just thought of another punchline for that black Superman story. Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L. Gen Z icon Kyle Rittenhouse is petitioning the court for the return of his rifle so he can destroy it. I don't know. Careful, Kyle. Trying to get your memorabilia back is how they finally got OJ.
The head of Chicago's police union is urging officers to defy the city's vaccine mandate, which is weird because usually Chicago police can't wait to take the shot. Walmart.
Police in Ohio say that a report of a homeless man sleeping on a bench turned out to be a statue, which was a huge relief because they shot it 15 times.
Pebbles, who was the world's oldest living dog, has died at the age of 22. But it's okay. His owners knew this was coming if they didn't keep him off my yard.
A new poll shows that 75% of LGBTQ voters support Joe Biden. but 0% of them support Joe Biden guessing what the B, T, and Q stand for.
The Kremlin celebrated the illegal annexation of Ukraine with a night of entertainment in Red Square. Say what you will, but a gig's a gig.
Startup airline Boom Supersonic is hoping to eventually fly passengers anywhere in the world in 4 hours or less for just $100. So get ready to fly fast and cheap on the only airline named after the sound of an explosion. This is fun. A Canadian woman was fined more than $25,000 for illegally importing bull semen. Meanwhile, in the U.S., bull semen is sold legally under the name White Claw.
Doctors in China removed more than 120 magnetic beads swallowed by a 5-year-old boy. Wow. Wait till his boss at the factory hears about this.
The CDC is warning about a salmonella outbreak that's linked to bird feeders. Yet another piece of bad news for people who eat out of bird feeders.
A conductor of a bullet train is facing disciplinary action after he left the controls to use the bathroom while the train was traveling at nearly 100 miles an hour. But brother, that chili was traveling at that same speed.
New Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has been accused of spreading white supremacist ideas, which is crazy. We're now counting Italians as white? Sizzler restaurants have announced that as a result of the impact from COVID, they are filing for bankruptcy, which is probably a good idea since the Sizzler buffet is the closest thing America has to a Wuhan wet market.
The population of Los Angeles has fallen for the 3rd straight year. Well, it's like Colin always says, LA is just not the same without Harvey. You always say it, man.
Cool. Thanks, man. That's cool. Researchers say that a system on the International Space Station that turns astronaut urine into drinking water could be used to provide clean water on Earth, which is the kind of amazing innovation that makes me think, wait, then what are astronaut brownies made of? The chief, well, you're not going to like this. The chief of the Cherokee Nation is calling on car maker Jeep to stop using the tribe's name on its vehicles. So Jeep has agreed to change the name to, wow, the Aunt Jemima Mobile.
Singer R. Kelly was found guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking this week, but won't be sentenced until next May, after R. Kelly's lawyers successfully negotiated one more school year. People Magazine's sexiest man alive is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah. He once again beat his longtime rival, Dwayne "The Scissors" Johnson. I am so proud of that joke, by the way.
A woman on Long Island discovered a diamond ring inside of a glove while trying it on in a department store. And because it was Long Island, it was still attached to a finger.
A new report shows that half of the dogs in the U.S. are overweight, which explains why the most popular breed in America is the Type 2 Dire Beagle.
Trump has justified his use of Twitter, saying he'd tweet less if the press did their job better, or if his Ambien did its job better.
A man in Arizona is claiming that he can relieve sinus pressure in his nose by masturbating. He first made the claim while police were removing him from the bus. There's people that love Donald Trump so much that they're willing to overlook these allegations, and I can understand that. Look, I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson because of Thriller and Off the Wall, but that doesn't mean I can't admit that he's done some terrible things too. Like that Invincible album, or that song he made with Eddie Murphy. What was that? It was almost as bad as that stuff he did to those kids.
It was announced that Idina Menzel will sing the national anthem at this year's Super Bowl. Then she'll sing Let It Go as a tribute to the NFL's domestic violence policy. In a speech this week, Hillary Clinton stressed the need for compromise in Washington, saying she hopes to lead the country into, quote, a warm purple space, which is the same line Grimace uses to get you into his windowless van.
A couple in Russia invited a bear to be a witness at their wedding. There were no survivors.
Golf Digest magazine has created a controversy over a new cover featuring 20-year-old golfer Lexi Thompson posing with only a towel covering her breasts. But before you call them sexist, they did the same thing last month with Arnold Palmer.
Dick Cheney criticized the Senate report on CIA interrogation methods as, quote, a bunch of hooey. Cheney also complained that the report's description of torture, quote, barely got me hard.
So, like, if you go to your email, you could just, like, open it up. It's literally right in there.
Damn it. This is for a sick kid?
Yeah, very sick boy.
Okay, well, here goes. A McDonald's in China was criticized for posting a sign saying that black people were not allowed to enter, which is the same sign I'm going to hang on my daughter.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Whoa.
The Blue Moon diamond, which sold at auction for $48 million, was bought by a billionaire for his 7-year-old daughter, which raises the disturbing question, did that guy cheat on his daughter? Pablo Picasso's Women of Algiers was sold for a record-setting $179 million. But I can get you a picture of lopsided titties for way less than that.
Johnny Depp this week criticized actors who become musicians, saying the whole idea makes him sick. Depp believes the only other thing an actor should become is a French scarf monster. An American woman set a new record by visiting every country in the world in 19 months. And after all that travel, she found the one thing that had been inside her all along: Zika. Just had it. A Massachusetts couple whose son was born during the Super Bowl has named him Brady, while an Atlanta couple whose son was born during the Super Bowl has named him Son of a Bitch.
I never understood why cops don't like us. We have so much in common with the police. We're both portrayed negatively on the news. You can hear our cars from blocks away. Everyone gets nervous when they think we're following them. We're the only two people I know who can hop a fence in boots. We both bring our guns to funerals. I can go on and on.
Thursday is Thanksgiving, and there's so much to be thankful for this year, unless you're a human woman. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. The publisher of Roald Dahl's books announced that they're altering some of his insensitive language, like the words fat and ugly, as well as modernizing his portrayal of women, which will mostly affect Dahl's beloved children's classic, The Fat, Ugly Wife Who Knew Her Place.
Republican insiders are concerned that the rivalry between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis could lead to a civil war within the party, which is perfect because they already have the flags. Hurricane Ian hit Florida this week, and Governor Ron DeSantis called it a 500-year flooding event. In fact, it's such a historic tragedy that DeSantis won't let them teach about it in Florida schools.
Florida governor and Dallas Cowboys cheerleader Ron DeSantis explained why so many residents failed to evacuate, saying some people just don't want to leave their homes, which is why sometimes you have to trick them onto a plane to Martha's Vineyard.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed a new policy permanently banning mask mandates and vaccine requirements, saying, when the world lost its mind, Florida was a refuge of sanity. Then everyone in the crowd took a hit of nitrous and bit a cop. Georgia Representative and cocaine bear Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, the country needs a national divorce, which makes sense because she is the most divorced-looking woman I have ever seen. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is releasing a new memoir called The Courage to Be Free. Even though The Courage to Be Free sounds like a Black history book, he's banned.
This weekend, bitter rivals who have been desperately pandering for votes and trying to force their politics on America will finally face off in person. I'm, of course, talking about tomorrow's Oscars.
Donald Trump accused Ron DeSantis of wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare and called the Florida governor a wheelchair over the cliff kind of guy. Wheelchair over the cliff is also how Melania will finally get rid of him.
Rupert Murdoch this week officially turned on Donald Trump. First, the New York Post ran a cover calling Ron DeSantis Ron DeFuture, even though Ron DeFuture sounds more like a drag queen from outer space. Then on Thursday, the Post showed Donald Trump as an egg sitting on a wall with the headline Trumpty Dumpty, which had to be the easiest Photoshop job in history.
Donald Trump responded to reports that Ron DeSantis will run against him for the Republican nomination, saying, "We'll handle this the way I handle things." So rough and without consent. It's okay.
Chris Christie's niece was arrested on a Spirit Airlines flight to Newark after she accused a Latino family of smuggling cocaine, then injured multiple officers by biting them and kicking them in the groin. She has been sentenced to life in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. And now Trump is threatening to reveal unflattering information about Ron DeSantis. For example, did you know Ron DeSantis is in charge of a state where some maniac was hiding stolen nuclear secrets?
Donald Trump said the results of the 2020 election should be overturned and called for the termination of the Constitution. Trump plans to terminate the Constitution by asking Herschel Walker to drive it to the clinic.
After the January 6th committee subpoenaed Donald Trump, Trump responded the next day with a 14-page letter. 14 pages. Okay, Unabomber. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but Trump wrote the letter on the same day the FDA confirmed the nation is experiencing a shortage of Adderall.
A deep-sea diver has announced plans to set a new record by living underwater for 100 days. I feel like the record is longer than that, said the people of New Orleans. I don't know why I thought that'd make you laugh.
And I just know from experience in college, anytime I wrote a 14-page paper in one night, I'd also taken a disturbing amount of Adderall. My favorite part of Trump's letter is the beginning because it's on really nice letterhead. It starts, "Dear Chairman Thompson," and then the first line is just screaming. It's like reading a Victorian love letter that says, "My beloved Winifred, who the hell are you having sex with?" A man in Florida said he was surprised when he heard a knock at the door and it turned out to be an alligator. Even more surprising, it was doing the thing from Love Actually. Officials in Berlin announced that women will now be allowed to go topless at the city's pools. But officials also said to be aware, it's not going to be the ones you want.
The committee showed a never-before-seen video from January 6th of a desperate Nancy Pelosi speaking on the phone with Mike Pence, which to Pence counts as adultery. In the video, Pelosi said that she wanted to punch out Donald Trump and knew that if she did, she'd go to jail and be happy. I assume because she owns stock in private prisons. According to a new report, by 2035, more than half of the world's population will be just how I like them. A photo has gone viral of a 98-year-old woman in Kentucky meeting her first great-great-great-grandchild. Well, I wish I had gotten to meet my great-great-great-grandmother so I could have told her, "Don't get on that boat!"
Insiders are saying that the House January 6th committee will refer at least 3 criminal charges against Donald Trump. But after this week, I think he's pretty much locked down that insanity plea. Semi-retired maniac Donald Trump has launched a collection of digital NFT trading cards depicting him in various costumes, including cowboy, superhero, and most unbelievable of all, guy who didn't dodge the draft.
I even tried acting during that one, man.
There is a trend on TikTok of people eating oranges in showers, claiming that it reduces stress and anxiety. But if you're comfortable filming yourself eating in the shower, I would argue you don't have enough anxiety.
Fishermen in Florida have discovered a 214-year-old clam that was born the same year as Abraham Lincoln. The clam credits his longevity to staying away from the theater. You never know, Colin.
Some owners of McDonald's franchises are reportedly concerned about a campaign partnership with Cardi B, especially the ad where they claim their burgers have a wet-ass patty.
Oh.
A new study finds that long-distance running does not cause wear and tear on marathoners' knees, but it does sand their nipples clean off. Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy seen here wanting to know if you or someone you love has been injured in a car accident. Met in person with President Biden about the debt ceiling and said they had a good conversation. It went so well, Biden let him pick a couple classified documents out of the bowl.
Wednesday was International Women's Day. I said was. Next joke. A new study finds that some New York City rats carry the virus that causes COVID, which is why I always order mine well done.
Well, guys, a genetic engineering company has announced plans to bring back the long-extinct dodo bird, but only for a limited time at Arby's.
We have the dodo.
Nike has officially cut ties with Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving over his anti-Semitism scandal. Kyrie says he's so depressed he might jump off the edge of the world.
Today was the SantaCon bar crawl in New York City. Yeah, the annual reminder that while Santa may exist, God doesn't.
Promise you won't regret it.
I'm sure not.
In Sarah news, this week I'm finally turning 30, or as Colin calls it, 15 years too old.
Come on. No.
What? When I invited you to my birthday party, you RSVP'd, I'm not gonna be a there unless it's a quinceañera. A tunnel below Niagara Falls recently opened to the public for the first time in over a century. A musty old tunnel letting people back in after years of disuse. I can only hope, said my boyfriend. That's right, America. I have a boyfriend. Don't let the queer haircut fool you, honey. I'm as straight as Michael Che's update persona.
All right. Do you have any real news, Sarah?
Of course. In real news, the U.S. is facing a threat from a highly intelligent breed of pig dubbed the super pig, which is funny because super pig is also what Colin writes on my dressing room mirror anytime he catches me eating without his permission. Has received criticism for his casual dress. And I agree. Those cargo shorts and hoodies don't belong on the Senate floor. They belong crumpled up on my bedroom floor. Hachi-machi. Thanksgiving must have come early this year because that hunk is giving the turkey waddle between my legs something to be thankful for.
A new study finds that despite women making less money than men, more single women in the U.S. own homes than single men, thanks to a phenomenon economists call divorce. Divorce. Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom.
For the first time ever, two brothers will be facing off against each other in the Super Bowl. Incidentally, two brothers in the Super Bowl is why my grandfather won't be watching.
On February, man. Wow. Mental health experts are now recommending that children start being screened for anxiety when they are 8 years old, because it can be pretty stressful down at that old iPhone factory.
Wildlife officials in Tennessee have captured a 500-pound black bear living on a college campus. A black bear that, let's face it, took the spot of more deserving white and Asian bears.
Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter for over $40 billion so he can loosen its free speech rules. That's how badly white guys want to use the N-word. A New Jersey man was arrested after he ran over a woman multiple times in a road rage incident. Said the woman, "Sorry, sorry." A 220-carat diamond known as the Rock will become the largest white diamond ever auctioned off. Wow, 220 carats. I mean, can you imagine the size of the child who mined that? It's huge, man.
I don't know. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? You're going to get me murdered. I want to switch it up a little. Che didn't write this one. This is all me.
I like to hear this.
Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day.
Oh, you're going to get letters about that one. Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at. Mel Gibson is reportedly in talks to direct a new Lethal Weapon movie. But if you want to see a broken down black guy team up with a handsome racist, just watch Weekend Update. A growing number of NFL players are filling up their off time by playing chess with each other. And also, let's see here, domestic violence. That's how they're spending their time, Colin.
This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers.
Has introduced pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and I gotta say, pumpkin spice scented trash bags is probably the best slur for white people I've ever heard. Mercy after it allowed users to talk with Jesus and Hitler and one guy who thinks he's both. It's just news, guys. Wednesday was National Coffee with a Cop Day. And something tells me cops like their coffee black with a couple of shots in it.
Oh my God.
New York City is now requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in all job listings. Employers must list everything ranging from the top salary all the way down to the female salary.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
I wouldn't have said that.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds. German researchers have recorded the shortest interval of time for an event to begin and end. The event finished so quickly, scientists have named it Che.
Oh, this is fun. An alligator in Florida was photographed swimming with a football in its mouth. Turning now to sports news, Tom Brady is missing.
A personal injury attorney in Florida allegedly drove her car into 4 people. Said the attorney, "Have you been injured in an accident?" A new lawsuit accuses Burger King of falsely advertising their Whoppers as bigger than what people actually get. It's the same accusation made in the case of Women versus Michael Che. It was reported that after Morgan Wallen lost his recording contract when he was caught on video using the N-word, sales for his albums rose over 1,000%, proving my long-held theory that if NBC would just let me say it, the ratings will go up. Is to keep it fun, light. No one's going to get canceled. No one's families are going to get threatened. You know, have fun.
Sure, we'll see. Well, why don't you go first? Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. That's fine.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
Pretty racist.
You're gonna get me murdered. Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
It's just that it's very complicated.
It's kind of like how you feel about Colin Jost.
Oh, no. I love Colin.
I will say that. in a offensive way, you know?
Never had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer. A 96-year-old German woman who was a secretary at a Nazi concentration camp has been released from detention. She is now safely in the custody of her grandson. What's up,
Hey, Michael, wait. What are you doing?
An update feature. Wow. So this is SNL.
And Grandma, if you're watching, go to bed. A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
I wouldn't have said that. Do a split screen of Colin and Stephen Miller for 1 second.
You don't have to do that.
Okay. Now, audience, by a round of applause, who do you think Hitler would want to be friends with? Stephen Miller or Colin Nixon Jost?
That's not my middle name. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs.
A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history. The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike. Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on.
instead of their usual way, face down, ass up. Las Vegas is opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me, but because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. Nothing wrong.
Police are being investigated after video surfaced of them using excessive force on a homeless black man accused of urinating in public. But I say great work keeping our streets clean, boys. Yes, sir. Anything the police do is all right with old Mikey Che.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
I know I'm probably the only black man brave enough to say this on live TV, but blue lives matter even more. Pretty insane that a major city is about to completely run out of water in 2 months, and I'm just now hearing about this. It's kind of embarrassing. I feel like I should care more about Africa. Kind of like when you run into an old friend and ask, "Hey, how's your kid?" And she's like, "Che, he's your son too."
Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. Before I go, I just thought of another punchline for that black Superman story. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Really doubling down on black Superman.
Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L.
A man who made aviation history by parachuting out of a hot air balloon 20 miles above the Earth has died at the age of 94 when he finally hit the ground.
The Wall Street Journal published an op-ed suggesting that Dr. Jill Biden stop using the title doctor because she has a PhD and is not a medical doctor, though she has at times functioned as a nurse.
A 67-year-old woman in China gave birth this week. The birth set a record for most friction. See, you guys don't realize it, but that joke took me like 4 hours to write.
During oral arguments in the case, Justice Samuel Alito raised the hypothetical, could a black department store Santa be forced to take a picture with a child dressed in a Klan robe? Alito added that he'd love an answer before he takes his grandkids to the mall next week.
In a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran put on the knit cap prosecutors say O.J. wore the night he committed the murders. Although O.J. may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat.
Officials in Georgia say that more than 50 children may have been exposed to coronavirus by a mall Santa, which is the second worst thing a mall Santa can expose children to.
A new album from R. Kelly was removed from streaming sites several hours after being uploaded. And it was not easy to remove his streams, said the maid who cleaned his couch.
On Christmas.
Wednesday was National Coffee with a Cop Day, and something tells me cops like their coffee with a couple of shots in it.
he collapsed on stage, Michael Jackson sold some of his publishing rights for $100 million. Do you have any idea how much $100 million can buy these days? 5 free molestings. That's right. It's a deal.
A woman testifying in the sex trafficking trial of Ghislaine Maxwell said that Maxwell told her that Jeffrey Epstein needed to have sex about 3 times a day, and if not, he'd kill himself.
Good. But do you get it? An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
That's pretty racist, Colin. The U.S. men's soccer team failed to qualify for the Olympics for the 3rd time in a row. But fellas, keep your heads up and remember that win or lose, you will always get paid more than the women's team. It's true.
Anna Nicole Smith was hospitalized twice this year. Her people said it was for exhaustion. For once, I believe them. If I had to lug these 2 giant sandbags around all day, I'd be exhausted too. I heard she had a second spine put in.
A professional golfer in Florida was arrested after he tried to meet a 15-year-old girl he met online who turned out to be a detective. Said the golfer, "Mulligan?"
Come on, man.
Sadly, there's more. For those of you wondering, in golf terms, a 15-year-old is 3 under par.
New research shows that before honeybees are killed by murder hornets, they scream a rally cry to other bees, who sadly just film the attack on their phones. It's not real, guys. A white student at the University of Kentucky was arrested after she was caught on video using a racial slur and assaulting 2 black students. She has been charged with 1 count of impersonating a police officer.
Police arrested a man after he pulled his car to the side of the road and started having sex with it. That man, you guessed it, Matthew McConaughey.
Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, let's just face it, is absolutely my type, complained that people can buy butt plugs in Target now. She also complained that they melt and are shaped like Santa.
The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to mpox due to concerns that the original could be considered racist, which I didn't even really think was an issue, but now I'm just wondering, what's the N in N95?
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is under fire over a picture of him from 1957 where he looks on as black students are stopped from entering his school. Okay, so maybe Jerry Jones was a racist back then. But tell me this, would a racist own a team full of the strongest black men he could buy to work on his field?
A man in Virginia is being called the greatest Uber driver ever after he and his teenage passenger got stuck in a snowstorm and he got a hotel room so she would be safe. Coincidentally, the worst Uber driver ever also brought his teenage passenger to a hotel room.
Get you off my mind. I've been up all night. I just wanna make it right. Hit me, yeah. Ooh, I can't get you off my mind.
Apple is saying that COVID in China has led to a slowdown in iPhone production. Wow. So I guess the new variant does affect children. I love this crowd. Pope Francis said this week that getting vaccinated against COVID is a moral obligation, especially since priests work so closely with kids. That wasn't an eye joke, I swear.
The Los Angeles Zoo announced that Evelyn, a 46-year-old gorilla famous for her red hair, has been euthanized. Not because she was sick, but because it's L.A. and she was in her 40s.
population of Los Angeles has fallen for the third straight year. Well, it's like Colin always says, LA is just not the same without Harvey. You always say it, man.
Cool. Thanks, man. That's cool. A cat who was buried by its owner after it was hit by a car dug its way out of the grave and returned to its owner 5 days later. That story again. A lady found a cat that looked like her old cat.
Police in Ohio say that a report of a homeless man sleeping on a bench turned out to be a statue, which was a huge relief because they shot it 15 times.
The makers of Barbie have introduced the first ever Barbie with hearing aids. It teaches an important lesson. It doesn't matter if you're deaf as long as that body banging.
Kevin Spacey. China has launched the third and final module for its permanent space station. Now all they have to do is launch some children to assemble it.
A 25-year-old from Florida will become the first Gen Z member of Congress. Younger, said Matt Gaetz.
In the wake of R. Kelly's sex trafficking conviction, YouTube has removed 2 channels linked with the singer. One for his singing, and the other about how to remove stains. It's been a pleasure working here, it really has.
Purdue University researchers have created the whitest paint on record. The paint is so white, I'm its favorite part of SNL.
This week, the FDA granted the first condom approved for anal sex. It took them this long because their wives would only let them test it on their birthdays.